The Micah Parsons trade request was something that was cards close to chest until it wasn't. And Micah Parsons released a pretty detailed retelling of just how the last 6 months have went between the conversations between him and the Cowboys. Long story short, Micah Parsons had conversations with Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, who is the guy. They're both the guys who run the Cowboys, and they had some, handshake, talking, discussion points about what a contract for him would look like, what an extension for him would look like. And after that point, Micah thought he made it clear that, hey, we're just having conversations here. My agent is going to do all that heavy lifting here once the negotiations finally come. Now, the agent, of course, says, hey, Myles Garrett might get signed. TJ Watt might get signed. Max Crosby might get signed. Wait, we'll get a contract later, and you're probably going to get yourself an extra $20 million because of it. And he's right. Now it came to this, where we're at the second week of training camp, and apparently, according to Micah Parsons, the Cowboys front office has not, one word, said anything to Micah Parsons and his agent. There has not been one conversation about a contract negotiation between the Cowboys front office and Micah Parsons' agent, according to Micah. And Micah at this point just thought this is a waste of time. So he said officially on that same post, which you can find on social media, I do not want to be here anymore. I do not want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. This is too much of a headache. I wanted to stay here. I loved playing for this team. But the fact that there's some sort of misunderstanding that my conversation with Jerry Jones 4 months ago was some sort of end-all, be-all negotiation for what the contract would look like. And then when an actual agent, licensed agent, gets involved, it's no-go. This is par for the course for the Cowboys, unfortunately. This happens, I feel like, every single year with them. There is always somebody that they're trying to figure out how to pay, or they're waiting to the last possible second to pay. And now Micah Parsons, who's a 26-year-old edge rushing superstar, who's only missed about 4 games in his career, 5 games in his career. He's an Iron Man. And he's had a dozen-plus sacks in every single year, his first 4 years, which is the only first player since Reggie White to do that. Reggie White, who's the sack leader, by the way. And now he has officially entered himself into the trade market. Now, Jerry Jones responded to this, and he said, if I say anything to the fans, I would say, don't lose sleep over this report. And whether that means that's just Jerry in his own world, and he's got this blind optimism that Micah Parsons is going to come rumbling back, or Jerry Jones is going to cough up the money that Micah Parsons probably deserves, and Micah's just going to sign it. Cade, could you see? How about this? Make a prediction right now. Will Micah Parsons be on the Dallas Cowboys come week 1?
Yes, he will.
You think he'll sign in the next week?
That I can't say, because literally Dak Prescott signed on the first day of football last season.
Right.
So I don't want to put a timetable to it.
But you think he's going to sign an extension with the Dallas Cowboys at least before we see some football?
I think Jerry Jones will at least cough up the money. That is my prediction on what will happen. My thoughts on what should happen, I think Micah Parsons should get out of there as fast as possible.
Because the Cowboys are a difficult franchise to deal with, or they're not going anywhere?
Both.
Okay.
I think that nothing good is going to happen with him in the front office, even post-contract. I think this team is not making the right moves to succeed as a franchise as a whole. They're not signing the right guys. They're not getting themselves any better, especially when the rest of their division and the rest of the conference is getting substantially better each and every draft and each and every free agency. I think we're all predicting them to finish, third, potentially last in their division this upcoming season.
Now, keep this in mind. They were hurt to Kingdom Come last year. It was a different coach team, and McCarthy's out of there. They got Schottenheimer in there, and they still were they weren't a half-bad team.
They weren't half bad.
Yeah.
But did the team feel like that? Did the team feel like they had a chance? There was never any energy out of this team. When they were winning 12 games a season, you always went into the postseason thinking maybe this was the Cowboys' season.
Right.
Midway through last year, even with Dak Prescott a little bit healthy, no one ever really felt that. No one felt like this was the team to do it, or these guys had a chance this upcoming postseason, with the NFC North doing as well as it was, with the NFC South doing pretty good, with the Atlanta Falcons making a good run. The Dallas Cowboys were left in the mud, left to mediocrity like they had been the previous decade. we got treated with those 12-win seasons, those 3 in a row 12-win seasons. I think they'll go right back to 8-9, 9-8, missing the playoffs, being a name in the NFL.
I'm under the impression here that I agree with you on the first part. Micah Parsons will be a Dallas Cowboy by the end of this. But I also, to say on the other side, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be bad if everybody's healthy. I don't trust the coach, Brian Schottenheimer, so I think there's probably going to be some growing pains there. But on the flip side, talking about Micah specifically, I think every team in the NFL should call for him. If they are going to field calls, and I bet they would, because you never know when you get that offer you can't refuse, because he's going to warrant that. The only comparison is what? Khalil Mack, when the Bears traded him for him and gave up 2 first-rounders, a third-rounder, and like a fifth-rounder. And Khalil Mack, Micah Parsons is probably a little bit better and younger than Khalil Mack at this point. He's going to warrant, two day one picks, maybe a player, and probably an additional pick after that. That's probably what we're looking at. I think every team should call for him. I really do. This type of player, when Myles Garrett made a trade request, it was weird because that's like an all-time great that's trying to be on a great team. Micah just wants to get out of there. Myles Garrett made it simple that I want to win Super Bowls. The Arizona Cardinals trading for me doesn't make a lot of sense. But with Micah here, I don't think Jerry would be afraid, or Stephen Jones would be afraid to trade him for the right price. But on the flip side, that puts a lot of pressure on Dallas, because if they get 3 picks in return, who's to say that any of those 3 picks, Micah Parsons is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. What's to say that any of those 3 picks will be Hall of Fame players? That's where you get risky. And you already got a quarterback that's sort of in the prime of his career, and a receiver that's sort of in the prime of his career, and a lot of players on your roster that are sort of in their primes, and you're going to let a huge piece defensively kind of walk out the door. I don't know if that's the right move, but that's a Cowboy decision. I think every other team should make a call.
That I disagree with you on. Not necessarily because of the picks, but because of the contract. I don't think there are... Okay, let me say this. I don't think that all 31 other teams are able to take a Micah Parsons contract right now.
That's true. But making room for contracts is a lot easier than it used to be in the NFL. Switching to signing bonuses, trying to get rid of... You're getting rid of a player on top of that, so you're going to offload contracts on one side. But I agree with you. Maybe there's certain teams that are so in cap hell that they just can't even make it work.
Like the Bengals are not taking Micah Parsons.
No.
But there's other teams like that, what I'm saying.
Yes, you're right. Let me rephrase. For teams that can afford it, at least the contract part of it.
There's nothing else about Micah Parsons himself as a person or a player that warrants people not calling him.
You get what, and also just for the value. Like that, this is somebody who plays, and he missed 4 games last year. Other than that, the guy doesn't miss games. He
doesn't miss games, plays multiple positions on that defense.
He forces turnovers. He gets to the quarterback. He's good in open field. He does a little bit of everything.
Yep.
And he's young. He's 26. So if you sign him to a 4 or 5 year contract, it's going to be through the 30, 31 years old. That's boom. That's through the prime of his career.